Welcome to Bizarre Ones, a podcast where we explore the strange, the unexplained, and the downright bizarre. I'm your host, Kai, and in each episode we'll dive into a different mystery, stories that defy logic, stories that spark theories, and stories that leave us wondering if there's more to reality than we know. Now, I won't be the only person usually in these podcasts. Sometimes it'll be me, sometimes it'll be me and Tonya, sometimes it will be me and my friend who likes to go by Doktor Anarchy, but in today's episode it's going to be just me. And this is, of course, the first episode of the podcast. Today we're starting off with a case that's become legendary in the world of the unexplained. It's the story of a man who seemingly arrived from nowhere. A man who carried a passport from a country that doesn't exist, and then disappeared without a trace. This is the story of the Man From Taured. Was he a time traveler, a visitor from a parallel universe, or something else entirely? Let's start from the beginning. It's July 1954 at Haneda Airport in Tokyo, Japan. The airport is busy with passengers from all over the world, going about their business as usual. Among them is a man, ordinary in appearance, well-dressed, perhaps in his mid-40s. He approaches customs and hands over his passport. Nothing seems amiss at first. His passport is well-worn, stamped from several countries, but when the customs officer glances at the name of his country of origin, he pauses. The passport says the man is from Taured, a country no one has ever heard of. The customs officer, thinking it might be a mistake, asks the man where Taured is. The man, confused, explains that Taured is located between France and Spain. So the customs officer is like, well, here's a map. The person points to Andorra on a map and insists that Taured has been there for centuries. The customs officer, now even more perplexed, continues to question him, but his answers remain consistent. He's adamant. Taured is real, and it's his home. The officers are suspicious. They take the man to a secure room for further questioning. They check his passport. It's genuine, and it even has stamps from various countries he claims to have visited. So all these stamps, they're like, well, this is all legit. All this right here says that this man, actually been to these countries. But the problem is, Taured doesn't exist on any map. Not only that, his documents, bank checks, driver's license, they all seem legitimate. But they're all from institutions that don't exist either. By this point, the authorities are baffled, right? They're like, what? To keep him from leaving, they book him into a nearby hotel and place guards at the door. So comes the next day, they go to question him again. He's gone. The room is empty. No sign of a struggle. No sign of escape. His documents, his passport, everything, all vanished. The Man From Taured was never seen again. So what really happened here? Is this a classic case of a mystery from another dimension, or was it simply a well-executed hoax? So let's explore some of the theories. The most popular explanation, of course, is that the man was a traveler from a parallel universe. A universe where Taured is a real country existing in the same place as Andorra does in our world. Some believe that this was a rare moment where two realities briefly crossed over. But how do we begin to prove such a theory? Another theory suggests that it could have been a case of mistaken identity or a forged passport. After all, the 1950s were a time of heightened tension because of the Cold War. It's possible the man was a spy or someone working under an alias, and when discovered, he made a quick escape, disappearing before officials could investigate further. Then there's the theory that this entire story is nothing more than an urban legend, a tale born from exaggeration, misreporting, and pure invention. There are no official records from Haneda Airport or the Japanese government documenting this incident. Could have been a hoax that gained traction over time, becoming the stuff of conspiracy theories and paranormal discussions. But despite the lack of hard evidence, the story continues to capture imagination. to all. The idea there could be other worlds or other versions of reality just beyond our grasp is a concept that has fascinated us for centuries.
That is interesting.
So I guess in this episode we are going to have Tonya. So what do you mean?
Well, to think that, the whole time they had him in the room, right?
Yes, yeah, they had him in the room. And the thing is the room was locked, right? They had guards, and it was like, if I remember the story correctly, he was on a higher floor. There was no way he could climb out the window. They were like stories above. Anyway, anyone could escape.
So exactly how did he escape out of the room? Like, he was in the room, and there was guards, and obviously, they probably switched in and out. So exactly how did the guy escape from the room? Like, he's being guarded by these guards, right? And they're way above ground level to where he could climb out and escape without being in danger.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's locked in this room to where nobody can reach, and being heavily guarded, yet somehow he disappears from the room.
And I mean, it could be, like you said, a parallel dimension, which would explain why he disappeared. Like, maybe it was kind of like a glitch, if you will, or like he appeared in our world and then disappeared because of some kind of
connection between both our world and whatever world he was from. Yes, it could be possibly that. And the thing is a lot of people say that this was a hoax. Apparently there was this one story that they believe was the actual guy that was the Man from Taured, but still to this day nobody actually knows whether this was true or not.
Well, you did say that the Japanese government in Haneda Airport has no records of this.
Yes, they do say that, but it's also 1950s. And we just got out of a war at the time with Japan and other countries and whatnot. And so it could possibly be that Japan covered it up for some reason. Now, why they would cover it up, who knows, or why they would, or anything of that particular. Like, the thing is, it just still makes one wonder, if it's true, then where's Taured? Is it another dimension or another reality? Or, something like that.
Or it could have been some top secret project that they didn't want anybody to know about.
How so?
Well, let's say they were working on some kind of device where they could, rip a hole between worlds, between the parallel universes.
So kind of like sliders or some kind of tech like that.
Yeah, something like that. And let's say that perhaps this device would be able to connect our Earth to the Earth that had Taured temporarily.
So kind of like a wormhole between our world and the parallel universe, right? Like something like that? Excuse me. Go ahead.
Yeah, like something like that, where it was like a temporary bridge, if you will, between our world and theirs, and somehow because of this experiment, that's how he ended up there. But as soon as that, bridge was closed, then he just went back to where he was from. Like, in his world, he was headed to the Japanese airport to return to his country of origin, Taured. And then somehow, something caused him to end up in our world, where Taured doesn't exist, and instead it's that other country.
I mean, these are all interesting possible explanations. And I mean, the thing is excuse me again, that we don't know. It could be a hoax, it could not be a hoax. But let us know what you think, like those that are listening. Like, what do you think of this particular story? And other episodes of the podcast will have other stories. We're going to be going back and forth between stories like this and, of course, strange news stories. So what do you think, Tonya?
I don't know. I mean, it could be that he was a visitor from another universe, a parallel universe, if you will, and somehow didn't even realize that he left his universe, and that's why he was confused. And then as soon as he, that bridge was closed, he ended back up in his reality.
I mean, these are all interesting explanations. So, I mean, we don't know. So, I mean, what do y'all think? Was this man from Taured a visitor from a parallel universe, a spy with a clever constructed story, or simply a myth that's grown over time, like an urban legend? Whatever the truth, this story reminds us that reality can be stranger than we think. But we'd love to hear what you all possibly think. I'm sorry that this probably wasn't as long as I wanted it to be, but I thank Tonya for being on this episode. I didn't even know she was going to be in it, so thank you, Tonya.
No problem. I would like to be in a future one if that's possible and whatnot, because I'd like to be in it, like, from the beginning, so we could discuss it back and forth and, talk about this whole thing. So
yeah, we can talk about that, and you can be in a future podcast. So anyways, like, let me know what y'all think. Thank you for joining me on this first episode of The Bizarre Ones. I hope you enjoyed diving into the mystery of the Man From Taured. Be sure to tune in next time. We're going to try to do one every month, where we'll explore another strange, unexplained story or strange news events. In the next episode, I want to do strange news stories and whatnot. So yeah, until then, stay curious and stay bizarre.